So, why do you want to be a police officer? I'm Brendan from Bluelight. I've been coaching and supporting people to answer questions like this for 26 years now. I used to be a police officer. We used to help those who were going for promotion, specialist interviews, and for the past decade, I've helped over 12,000 people to succeed in the police recruitment journey. And still, no matter how much advice I give, my clients still struggle with this question. It's such a tough one. Any question that asks you, why do you like to do something, or why do you want to be something, is always going to be difficult. I've just done a session this morning, a one-to-one session with one of my clients. You can check the links below for more information about how to join as a client, whether it be for one-to-one coaching sessions, online courses plus webinars. We've got everything you need to succeed in every stage of the recruitment process, plus the Bluelight guarantee that if you do all the work I ask you to do and you fail, I'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. Anyway, back to the 5 things. So today there were 5 things that my client made in terms of mistakes, and also things that they did well. So I'm going to highlight the things that went well and the mistakes. This is part 1 of a 2-part video. In part 2, I'm going to share more detail with you, but that's only going to appear in the interview course. For those of my clients who are in the police recruitment process who have my interview course, it'll also appear in the interview course Facebook group and in the interview course plus webinars option Facebook group. This is where we practice once a week, and you get access to what is now about 18 months worth of recordings of practice webinars. Thank you, Facebook, for giving me all of that web space to store all of those videos in. So, excuse me. All right, so the question I asked this morning as part of my practice session, which we debriefed, was, why do you want to be a police officer? Why do you want to be a police officer in this force? Now, my client started off with the inspiration. So this is often a really good place to start, his initial inspiration. And he talked about seeing police officers in action, but he didn't actually talk about what specifically it was that inspired him about the things that they were doing. So detail, we've got to do that. Second point, really well done. He followed my timeline process. So for my clients, I recommend that you follow a timeline as opposed to a scattergun approach of why you want to be a police officer. The timeline starts with your initial inspiration, and then it moves on to all the way to the point where you are today. And during that process, you can describe stages of your journey and how you've developed skills and abilities, and how you've developed yourself, and who's inspired you and motivated you along the way. Because quite simply, answers like, I just want to help the community, I want to put something back into the community, I'm a really caring person, I just like to help people. It's a job where no two days are the same. It's a job where there's lots of opportunities. Yeah, you might have read that in other books, you might have read that on other people's websites as to, use those sort of answers. No, it doesn't work. I used to be an interviewer. We used to get so sick of cliches like that. Seriously, sick of cliches. Got to have some detail. So my client used a really good journey approach, but then struggled a little bit, talked about the skills and abilities that he'd developed that were transferable, which is great, but that's where it ended. I developed skills and abilities that were transferable. I developed skills and understanding which were transferable. So in the second video, I'm going to talk to you about the sort of questions I asked him to get what was absolutely awesome in terms of the skills and abilities and what that meant to him and why that motivated him. So in the part 2, I will go through the sort of questions that you can ask yourself to ensure that you've got something that's more than just, I developed the skills and abilities, the transferable skills. Even saying what they are, I developed leadership and communication skills. Anyone can say that, can't they? Okay, the fourth thing, along this journey, this particular individual came across police officers. And so the question I asked was, because they talked about how a particular officer inspired them, but then left it at that. So The questions I asked are the same thing for part two, because it's in a lot of detail. But what we got out of it was a real sense of motivation and inspiration, as opposed to just saying that as inspired by this person. What specifically was it that inspired? And so again, I'm going to give you a series of questions that you can go through that will help you identify what exactly it was that was inspirational. So that was the fourth thing. The fifth thing, where is it? Where's the fifth thing? Oh, the fifth thing was the ending. Making sure you've got something that ends nicely, that almost loops back to the beginning in terms of being an inspiration for others. So there's a way of selling that as well. I'll share that with you. Shall I? So, this is where you future pace yourself, because you are where you are now, sat in front of the interviewers. But there's nothing wrong with future pacing yourself to say what sort of police officer you hope to be and how you hope to be that inspiration for others in the future. But again, being specific about it. So there you go, folks. 5 things to include. For those of you who are my clients, jump onto part 2. This will be on the online interview course and also in the interview course Facebook groups. You can get access to those by following the links below. Remember, you're going to get access to 26 years worth of knowledge and understanding about what works in the police recruitment process. And if it doesn't work out for you and you've done all the work I've asked you to do, then like I said, you get a full refund and we part as friends, because I'm all in on this journey with you. The question for yourself is, are you prepared to do the hard work on a daily basis, taking that uncomfortable action to develop answers which are going to be awesome, that are going to enable the sergeant or inspector, because it's probably going to be a sergeant or inspector interviewing you, to look at you and listen to you and think, I can see this individual on my team, because that's the final question that they're going to be asking. So I hope you enjoyed this, folks, got something out of it. For those of you, my clients, like I said, jump onto part 2. It's on your online course. And if there's anything you're struggling with in the future, please do let me know and I can make some more explaining videos for you. So I'll catch up with you in the next one, folks. Bye-bye for now.